Hey everyone. I feel like after being bombarded with emails and calls and text and tags and more, I have to say something about the Spider-Man Noir Amazon Prime series situation and set the record straight. Um, One, I did not know about it. Two, I'm not involved with it. Three, I'm not going to make any money from it. And four, this is not going to change my life forever. Not at all. All right, now that I've put that aside, and for those watching the video and asking, like, what the hell is this guy talking about? I am Fabrice Sapolsky, and I'm a comic book creator, and I've been a comic book professional for 25 years. And I also run a wonderful inclusive publishing company called Fair Square Comics. Uh, in December 2006, I had the original idea, concept, and name for Spider-Man Noir. I took it to David Hine, and together we built a whole universe and a unique tone for what would become the first Spider-Man Noir series. In our world, Spider-Man gets his powers from a mystical statue linked to the Anansi spider god. He's not a gumshoe detective, he's more of a social justice warrior slash vigilante. And his moral compass is very, very different from any other quote unquote heroes. The first issue came out in December 2008, and we did the first miniseries was 4 issues. Then we did a second miniseries a year later called Eyes Without a Face, and by 2010 we had like two miniseries under our belt, and Marvel just stopped ordering more, which is fine. Our editors, Warren Simons and Alejandro Arbona, either left or were let go, so we had to move on, and we did. We moved on. In 2014, Dave got a message from Spider-Man Group editor Nick Lowe to do an encore. We thought about it. And we were like, maybe we can continue our story. Maybe this was the another chance to get a third miniseries or maybe an ongoing. And it ended up being like a 20 page story called Edge of Spider-Verse, and it was issue one. And we're like, wow, this is an issue one. If they give us the issue one, uh, they believe in it. They believe in Spider-Man Noir. And we did it, and Richard Isanov illustrated it brilliantly, and it sold, I believe, over 120,000 copies. It was first there was first run. It was reprinted. It was the biggest Spider-Man Noir comic ever printed, to my knowledge. Uh, then Marvel stopped calling, and we moved on again. And in 2018, Nick called back again, asking us if we'd be interested in working not in a comic book, but in a motion comic story to be released on YouTube in conjunction with an event called Spider-Geddon. We agreed. We thought about it, but we agreed, and then we were told a day before the release of Spider-Geddon #1 in October 2018 that Spider-Man Noir wouldn't make it, would die in the first issue. 2 months later, incredible timing. 2 months later, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the animated movie, comes out, and Spider-Man Noir is part of the gang, and all of a sudden it blows up, and he's part of this movie and earns a Golden Globe and an Oscar, and neither Dave or myself were aware of this movie. We didn't know anything. We did not. We were not consulting for them. We were not paid for it, and our name is not even on the in the credits. Uh, so we have to flash forward to 2 years later, and we get another message from Marvel writing us back to warn us that there will be a new Spider-Man Noir series in 2020, but that we would not be associated with it because they wanted to go in another direction. In other terms, our socially and politically conscious universe would be replaced by a version that is closer to the movie version. Hence, it was not our character anymore. It bear the same name, but it was not our character anymore. The costume was different, the attitude was different, the voice was different. It was different. Um, so again, we already had moved on. So I guess we moved farther. I don't know. Uh, Now there's this announcement that there's a new TV series in the works, and I mean there have been announcement in it happened in serious trade publications like the Hollywood Reporter, Variety, uh, IGN, and then like tons of other website uh, started with this information, and it blew all over the internet. And then this is where I need to set the record straight. Um, None of the creators were mentioned in the original article. Only the producers, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, and the showrunner, and Marvel, and Sony. But none of the original creators, none of the original artists, writers, character designer, no one. We were not mentioned. You guys have to understand that this is work for hire, and this is what work for hire is. Dave, Carmine, Marco, and myself never had any rights to Spider-Man Noir to begin with. It belongs to Marvel, and Sony is a Marvel licensee, which holds the Spider-Man rights. So as a result, and like funny story, like after the premiere of Into the Spider-Verse, I get a message from David Bogart, who's the managing editor at Marvel, and asked me what I thought about the movie. And I said two things. I said, well, I enjoyed the movie very much, and there's a version of a character that I created that is on screen, but I can't recognize it. This is not my character. This is like a watered down, family friendly version of my character. And I understand why they did it because it's a family friendly movie. Now, I was far from imagining but that it would become the version, and that the version that Dave and I created was no longer going to be the canon. And I also said, like, I did not see our names in the credits. Like, there were some other creators' names, but there was no mention of us. And he said, "Oh, that's not Marvel, that's Sony." And this is where I had to understand the nuance, the finesse of all things. Sony does Sony, Marvel does Marvel. Not saying that Marvel is particularly generous with creators. There has been stories. Ask Ed Brubaker about it, or ask Jim Starlin about it. But yeah, this is how it works. This is Hollywood. Comics in Hollywood are different. Uh, but Spider-Man, when Spider-Man Noir appears in a video game or merchandise or on screen, we have no say, we have no rights, and we have no residuals. This is how it works. We are not warned, we're not consulted. That's called work for hire. Now, to be completely transparent with everyone, when I did Spider-Man Noir, I knew from the start that it would not be a cash grabber. I was paid $20 per page as an advance on any Marvel comic I worked on, and I had 0.05% royalties on book sales in North America only. For your information, my royalties for 2022 were about $50. And I think the most that I ever had in royalties was something like $400 in 2019, which is when Spider-Man Noir was reissued as the complete collection. It was a graphic novel collecting all the appearances of Spider-Man Noir. And when it was reprinted in 2019, it hadn't been out of print for 7 years at that point. So it's not like it has been given some love before. Maybe there was metrics. Maybe it did not sell enough. I have no idea about that. What I know is we published two miniseries. There were two graphic novels. There was a softcover and a hardcover, and then it was out of print for 7 years, and then it reappears right after the Spider-Verse movie, and it sells a lot of copies. And then now, I think now it's sold out again. So go figure. You'd have to ask Marco. Now, people are tagging me online next to Spider-Man Noir, and I have to say it's a little awkward. It's a little awkward because even though I came with the concept, the name, and co-created the character with Dave, I got no special treatment. I got no endorsement deals. I was not asked to write more comics anywhere. I did not get any privilege from that. Nothing. Everything that I've done in the past 15 years related to my career in comics is of my own doing. Like, I'm still publishing comics because I am financing them myself. Comics that I own. Spider-Man Noir though I was heavily invested in its creation and world building, was just a job and not a greatly paid one, as you may understand now. Um, so it's a brand, it's owned by Marvel, and they can do whatever they want with it because that's theirs. I have no say. That's fine. I'm fine with that. I am not fine with another thing. I'm not fine um, when trade publications are talking about a character and never mentioning any of the creators. They're mentioning everybody else from the movie studio, but they're never mentioning us. And I want everyone to remember that without creators, there are no brands. Without creators, there are no comics. Without creators, there's nothing creative. Creators should come before brands. That's the purpose of my message today. It's to talk about this. You want to support me as a creator? Fine. Buy my comics. Like I wrote 240 something pages of Spider-Man Noir in my life. I wrote over 680 pages of everything else. And that's books like Intertwined, like Ladybird, like Classified the Black Box, like No Future. Like, I mean, I did a bunch of creator owned books. They are available, they are on the market right now. They're not out of print. You can buy them. I actually have one coming up in May, which will be a spinoff to my very popular Intertwined series. So I'm not I haven't disappeared in the comic universe in the nexus of things. Um, and I would be fine with a credit. I would be fine with a credit in the new Spider-Man series. I would be fine with a credit anywhere. I'm not asking for money. I mean, if they want to give me money, I will not say no, but I'm not asking for anything. I'm asking for people to acknowledge that creators are just as important or more important in my book than brands because we it starts with us, it ends with us. We matter. We care. They should care about us. So, if you don't want creators to be erased, you should absolutely tag everyone you want and convey that message. Creators before brands. It's something that I put in a lot of my tweets. I mean, when I had a personal Twitter, even with the company's tweets now, but on the rest of the social media, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, I always talk about this creators before brands. It is very, very important. Like, it's the only way for us to exist, to ultimately make money and have a decent living from creations that we, for lack of better terms, created. Um, Thank you for listening, and I hope you'll enjoy every kind of content today, tomorrow, this weekend, next week. You can find me on any platform. I'll always be ready to talk to everybody at shows. I'm doing 20 shows a year. And I want you not to be sad that I distantiated myself from Spider-Man Noir. It's just that my own creations are equally or more important to me because at the end of the day, I own them. I think nobody resented Todd McFarlane for creating Spawn, and he's stuck to Spawn for 30 years, and I admire that. If I can like have my characters last for 30 years, that would be amazing, and I wish I can. I don't know if I'll have the energy to last 30 more years like that, but who knows? Making comics keeps people young. So I'm not like I'm in a good shape. So I'm gonna keep doing comics. Thank you very much for watching and listening, and I hope you read a lot of great comics today, tomorrow, forever. Thank you.